Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Listen, we are in dire need of donations to keep these shows running and available for you 24/7. So that means when you're in the car, it's available for you to listen to. Whether you're at work, streaming, playing a game, it's available for you to listen to. Rowing your deed and learning about the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful different topics of Islam. Listen, one of the heaviest deeds that could be placed on your scale on the day of judgment is Sadaqah Jariyah. Yes, I know I'm trying to build deeds daily. So you can too. So listen, feel free and please, from the bottom of your heart, donate to this wonderful cause, wonderful website and platform to continually push out shows that will benefit you and the Muslim Ummah. Yes, you can donate by going to the Sunnahfollowers.net website, pressing the donate tab. You can also scan the QR code in YouTube on the far left top of our videos that are streaming. Listen, guys, this is very important, and take this as important. We want to keep this programming available for you 24/7 so that you have access in your car, anywhere you choose to tune in to this wonderful programming. Yes, guys, it's all at your disposal. So listen, feel free to donate. Once again, remember, Sadaqah Jariyah, one of the heaviest deeds on your scale on the day of judgment. He was known as the Sword of Allah, one of the greatest generals in history, one of Islam's greatest heroes. His name, Khalid ibn al-Walid. Sunnahfollowers presents a new series presented by Ustad Mukhtar Shahid. Coming soon, so stay tuned. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers. Sunnahfollowers presents a new upcoming class. Stay tuned. Sacred Bonds by Daryl Abdullah Kirk. Yes, Sacred Bonds, navigating the depths of Muslim matrimony and the family. You don't want to miss this one. Please stay tuned. Streaming on all major platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.net. Living in this dunya, to the believer, it's a prison. Living in this dunya, to the believer, it's a prison. Living in this dunya, to the believer, it's a prison.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody to, this is an extra edition, not a special edition, but it's an extra edition of our series, The Sacred Bonds of Marriage. Dr. Jamali, this is normally the time that the day that Dr. Jamali does his class on the Quran. But understanding the Quran, but he's caught up traveling, so he was unable to do his class. And I know so many of you look forward to coming to the website to learn Islam. And I know a lot of you have scheduled your lives around the website to learn. So I'm going to fill in today for him as well, and we're going to cover. Continue discussing the sacred bonds of marriage. And this is based on the book that is written by one of my students, Brother Daryl Abdullah Kirk. Brother Daryl Abdullah Kirk, and this book can be purchased by going to Amazon.com. So Make sure you guys go to Amazon and get a copy of this book. And one of the problems today is, even though the laws of Islam are clear, the laws of Allah never change. And I want everyone listening to me, even the people that listen to this recording, and when it's put up as a recording, we're live now. But I want everybody to know that the laws of Allah never change. His rules, his conditions of marriage, divorce, how to live, never change. But unfortunately, people change. People change in their belief in Allah and in their practice. Even though Allah has made the laws for us to abide by, to make life less difficult, we're going to still come upon Muslims today, many of them, most of them, who don't follow the laws. They introduce their own beliefs, their own practices into the religion. Instead of doing things the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, instead of handling situations the way the companions did, it's all about 4 imams. It's all about Ibn Taymiyyah. It's all about Ibn Qayyim. It's all about Ibn Qathir, or my sheikh, this sheikh, or it's about culture and all of this. So, but I want you guys to understand, even though the Muslims today are not practicing this religion the way they're supposed to, don't give up on the law. Don't cause the sins of man to cause you to blame Allah. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Because life is so challenging. Life is so disappointing for so many of us. You know, the emails I get from so many of the new shahadas here, male and female. The text messages I get from you guys about the problems that you are faced with. And again, I'm no exception. I have problems. I have to deal with the same fitna that you guys deal with, the drama, the cultural garbage, the misunderstanding of the religion, the abuse of Islam, the abandonment of the Sunnah, the abandonment of the Hadiths. I deal with the same stuff that you guys deal with. So for the new Shahadas and the old Muslims, people been Muslim all their life, you know, but you're just feeling like, what's the point? Don't ever blame Allah, okay? Because Allah perfected this religion for us. Allah made it beautiful. Islam is really a beautiful way of life, guys. It's just that it's not being practiced correctly today in general, okay? Don't blame it on Allah. And remember, our Prophet Muhammad told us that this would happen. You know, the Muslims were at their best during when he was living. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the first sign of the last hour will be his death. And after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, things went south, especially after those first 4 caliphs. Well, really, after Umar, things started going south. But it's not like we didn't expect it, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us all what to expect. He told us that each generation of Muslims will become further and further away from practicing this religion correctly. He told us that Islam would become strange. It'll become ugly. It will become distorted. You know, so don't blame Allah for the ignorance of man. And I know how a lot of you sisters feel, you know, it makes you hate people. Hatred, you know, it'll make you hate people. But we're going to have to learn to just balance, you know, and, understand that, yes, it's true. Allah is in control of everything. Everything is the qadr of Allah. And I'm going to talk about that in my my Aqidah class. A lot of Muslims today don't understand the qadr of Allah. When we're faced with difficulties in life, disappointments in life, It's easy to say, oh, it's the qadr of Allah, but they don't understand that's not what it is. It's the qadr of Allah. Everything that happens in this world, good and bad, disappointments, everything happens as the qadr of Allah. That's true. But just we don't, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the men who came to him and asked him, they said, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, if everything is the qadr of Allah, then what's the point in me even trying?" And the Prophet had to explain to those men. He said, if you are a person that's meant to end up in paradise, you will live your life in this world doing everything that it takes to get there. And if you are a person that ends up in hell, you will do the deeds that take you there. But a lot of people don't understand this because we can't break down the meaning of simple English words. So just in a nutshell, to answer the new shahadas here, what does this mean? Do we just say everything's the qadr of Allah and not try? No. We already know that everything that happens, good and bad, happens because Allah willed it. But that doesn't mean that we don't try, that we don't exhaust every means possible. Do you understand, people? The only time that you say, oh, it's the qadr of Allah, is if you can't do no more. That's what the Prophet was telling the companions. Do your best. The only time that you give up and say it's the qadr of Allah is if you have exhausted all means available. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope this is clear. Allah says in the Quran, this goes hand in hand with what he said when he said Allah will never change the condition of a person or a condition of a people until that person or that people take the steps to change the condition themselves. You don't just stay in a state of ignorance. You don't just live in a state of sin. You don't just sit there and live and commit what's known as shirk el-ashkar. You don't be discontent with your existence and say, oh, I'm miserable. It's the qadr of Allah. No, you get up off your rocker and you exhaust every means possible. And only after you've exhausted every means possible do you then say, well, I've done all I can do. I've done everything that I can do. So now Allah knows I've tried. Now I know Allah must be telling me something or Allah don't want it. So now I can say it's the qadr of Allah. Does that make sense? People in the Zoom room, am I breaking this down? Is this understandable for these new shahadas? You know, so I don't, yeah, because we don't give up on life. You don't let the disappointments, the setbacks in life cause you to blame Allah, cause you to just throw in the towel, cause you to sit there and wallow around in hopelessness. Let me give an example. One of the sisters who's new, one of my new shahadas, I'm not going to mention her name because she's in here and I don't want to embarrass her. Although she probably wouldn't care if I mentioned her name, but I'm not going to do it. One of the sisters called me about an hour ago, got me upset, you know, because she said she just got back from a doctor's appointment. She just got back from a doctor's appointment. This is a sister who just recently got married. This is a sister who was living her life happily. This is a sister who finally found a man who she considers her Prince Charming. And she went for a checkup and she finds out after a pap test that she has ovarian cancer and that they have to remove one of her ovaries. This sister was looking to have children, okay, looking to be happy. So she called me up. She said, why, Sister Layla? This is the qadr of Allah. Just give up. Okay, I'm just going to die. Just die of cancer. Just die with no children. Oh, it's the qadr of Allah. No, 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 no. This is a test from Allah. Like I told her, ovarian cancer can be treated. We have advanced so high in technology. They can remove that one ovary, get all the cancer out, and you'll have one ovary left, but you can still get pregnant. She said, yeah, the doctor told me the chances are lower, but it happens, but this low. I said, well, how do you know that Allah, hasn't decreed for you to get pregnant with that one ovary? One of my co-workers had one ovary. You want to know when she got pregnant? 50 years old. She was going through menopause. She thought her period had stopped because of menopause. This happens to a lot of women. They go to the doctor at the age of 50 thinking they menopause, and then the doctor said, guess what? You 3 months pregnant. My co-worker gave birth to a baby at the age of 50. My African-American co-worker. That baby 10 years old now. My co-worker 60 years old. She got a 10-year-old son. He can't. So it happens, and she got pregnant with one ovary. She said, Layla, I wasn't even expecting that. She said, I thought I was done having children. When it happened, she was shocked. She said, can y'all believe I'm 50 years old getting ready to have a baby? We used to tease her at work. I say, life happens. She said, I only got one ovary. I thought I ain't never have to worry about having no more babies, but she had one. He's 10 years old now. So like I told this sister, we don't just throw in the towel and say it's the qadr of Allah. You do everything in your power. You do everything in your power to change the condition of yourself. That's the qadr of Allah. It's Allah's will that you will get up and do what you need to do to make right what's wrong. Okay? You don't just say that's it. It's over. We can never lose hope. I want all the new shahadas here to understand we never lose hope. We have to keep hope. Look at the story of Imran. Him and his wife thought they could never have kids too. But look what happened. The old man and the old woman had a kid. Okay? We never lose hope. It happens all the time. So I don't want you guys to be like that, where you sit there and just throw in the towel on life, like those men were saying to the prophet. What's the point? If Allah already knows what's going to happen tomorrow and where we're going to end up, what's the point in trying? The prophet said, you keep trying and you never give up. If you a person of paradise, you will do what it takes to get there. If you're a person of hell, it'll show because you will do nothing. You will just sit there and just be discontent and just let life just do whatever. We're fighters. We have to fight, guys. As Muslims, we have to fight. The road to paradise is not easy. It's paved with thorns. We have to fight. And I want you guys to remember our prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told us nothing good comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. We have to fight. Fight for it. If it comes too easy, then that's a sign that maybe it's something that you shouldn't get or shouldn't do. You have to fight for it. You're diagnosed with a sickness. Fight. Because you don't know. It's Allah's way of testing you. Fight. Even in our personal relationships, we have to fight for our marriages. Shaitan likes to take down and destroy marriages. We have a very high divorce rate as Muslim women and men. It's so easy to throw in the towel and say, I divorce you. Like the brother in here now. Here's a young couple with 2 babies. He divorced his wife and now he can't take her back. It was so easy to say, I divorce you. And now he done lost his wife and lost his children. He can't be with her again unless she marry another man and have sex with him. Hello. And once a woman has sex with another man, you know what that means? She ain't going to want you. Because she's going to find out that everything that glitters ain't gold. There's always something better. Very few women go back to what they left behind. We keep it moving forward because we know there's better. So it's easy to say, I divorce you. It's hard to bite that down and be patient and try to work out problems. You don't say it's the qadar of Allah. Okay? We have to fight for everything. Some of you guys, you want to get married. Okay? Just like the brother here the sister here, she wanted to get married. Her father wouldn't let her get married. It happens. It happens all the time. That's cultural. All of us that come from those type of backgrounds, not just the Africans, the Arabs too, the Pakistanis too, the Indians too, even the Chinese people. That's cultural, where their father and them, it's that superiority. I want to show that I'm in control. Allah doesn't give too much power to anyone. Even if your father told you he doesn't want you to marry, there's always another way. You exhaust every other way, and then you say it's the qadar if it don't work out. Do y'all get what I'm saying? If your father won't let you get married because you want to get married, you got another alternative. You go to the imam or you go to the judge. There's always another alternative. Only after you exhaust all the other ways do you then just throw up your hands and say, okay, Allah, this is your decree. I see it and I submit. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Because we're so weak. Muslims today, we're nothing like the companions. Muslims today in general, we don't know our religion at all. And we're weak people. We're not fighters. We don't understand what our purpose is. And we just give up and we're shameful. If the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were living today, he'd be ashamed to see where we've become as a nation. If those original companions were living today, they'd be ashamed. They would say, oh, Prophet of Allah, let us just kill them all because ain't none of these people Muslim. Subhanallah, we're horrible. And it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Allah said it's going to get worse. Every generation will be worse than the one before. Our children's generation is going to be worse than ours. Their children's worse than theirs. Their children's worse. It's going to continue this way. Okay? But that's why it's so important for you to try to focus on yourself, on perfecting your belief system, perfecting your understanding of what your purpose is, and not care what the rest of the people around you are doing, what the rest of the Muslims around you are saying. It's all about what did Allah say? What did the Prophet say? How would the companions have handled this? That's what I do. For the new shahadas, when I'm faced with something in life that I don't like, and that's a lot of stuff, I always ask myself, how would Aisha handle this? How would Salama handle this? What about Atika? What about Hani? Okay, Kanza. Okay. I think about those female companions. What would they do if they were in my situation? What would Hakam do? We have to, they are our role models and mentors, not the people of today. The people of today are weak. The people of today, the Muslims today handle their trials the way Kafirs do. The Muslims today do not handle their trials the way the companions did. The Muslims today are twisted. So that's why I tell you, new shahadas, don't go around taking these non-Muslims as your role models, and not even these Muslim speakers either, because the people today are weak. Muslims today are weak in general. You might find a strong one here or there, but the strong ones are looked upon as being evil. The weak ones are viewed as being people of influence. So be careful with that. And that's what this class is all about. This sacred bonds of marriage. You know, everybody likes to talk about marriage today. You sisters and brothers come here with a lot of marriage questions. And by the way, I did talk to Dr. Dramali. I am going to do a special next Friday. This Friday coming up, I'm going to do a special Q&A. My Q&A on Friday will have a special topic. This Muslim men who believe they're deluded, as we talked about today. We learned what delusion is. They're deluded into believing that women over the age of 40 should not be married because there's something that they won't give you pleasure, joy, and they're broken. We're going to talk about that. That's not true. The Prophet Muhammad never said that. Y'all know he had 2 older wives. He had Sauda, who was the same age as him, and he had Khadija, radiallahu anha, who was older than him. So that should tell you right there that ain't true. And Khadija was the best woman he ever had. She's the best woman created after Mary. So that should tell you right there something that ain't true. But I did talk to Dr. Dramali, and he told me where that came from. It's not Imam Hanafi. Imam Hanafi didn't teach that. Imam Hanafi didn't even believe that. It's the students of the students of the students of Imam Hanafi that came up with that garbage. That's why I tell y'all we have to be careful learning about madhabs. I'm going to be honest. I don't know why you brothers teach that stuff. Why do you brothers teach the fiqh of the 4 imams? That shouldn't even be a class in Islam. Why do you brothers teach that? Islam ain't based on the fiqh of anyone except the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah. That's it. Allah first and foremost, and then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the only fiqh in Islam. Why do you brothers teach that stuff? Well, Dr. Dramali has a PhD in that stuff. Oh yeah, he studied all that stuff, and he said this stems. Imam Hanafi didn't go around telling nobody not to marry women over 40. That ain't come from him. It came from the student of the student of the student. That's garbage. Okay? And it ain't based on nothing from the Quran, and it's based on nothing from the authentic Sunnah. Number 1. Number 2, about you brothers divorcing women who reach 40. We got a lot of brothers who won't even stay married to their wives if their wives are over 40. That ain't Imam Hanafi either. He never told nobody that either. As Dr. Dramali said, that came from a student of the student of the student too. This is garbage. That ain't nothing. That's not a madhab. That's ignorance. You guys need to put those 4 Imam madhab books down. The fiqh of the 4 imams, throw that stuff away and get back to what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said and the understanding those companions had. There is nothing about marriage. There is nothing about divorce that you can think of that our Prophet Muhammad has not answered for us. There is no scenario that any human being on this planet today can come up with that those original companions and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have not addressed. The religion has been perfected. It was perfected before the Prophet died. So my advice to you famous duat, to you famous brothers, is to stop teaching that crap. Stop teaching the fiqh of the four imams. Because number one, it ain't their fiqh. A lot of that stuff ain't true. Number two, it contradicts what the Prophet said. Number three, it contradicts the companions and how they practiced this deen. Throw that stuff away. Throw it out. Throw it out. This is why we're messed up as a nation. People don't even know how to pray correctly. I am a daya. I teach the basics here. Muslims don't know how to pray properly because the four imams or Ibn Taymiyyah, y'all got to stop that. And most of the stuff they say about Ibn Taymiyyah is a lie too. Stop lying. And who cares? Quote Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then quote how those original companions understood the verses to be. That's what we need to do. You brothers are making it hard. That's why people are apostating. I had another brother ask me a question just the other day. He said, Sister Layla, your lectures are so good. This is a famous brother, a very, very famous, very well-known so-called person of knowledge. He said, Sister Layla, your lectures are so good. He said, you want to know why you got more men following you than women? He said, it's true. He said, because you're keeping it real. You're basing everything on the Quran and the authentic hadith with the understanding of those companions. He said, I have to say we brothers have deviated away from that. He said, we've deviated away from that. He said, I had to check myself. I teach a class on the fiqh of the four imams. This brother teaches the fiqh of the four imams. He said, I need to start doing like you. Teach about marriage straight from the hadith. Teach about divorce straight from the fiqh of the Prophet. The fiqh of the Prophet on marriage. The fiqh of the Prophet. It's easy because it's all right there if you are a true person of knowledge, though. If you are a person of knowledge who knows those hadiths, there's no reason for you to pick up any other books. This famous brother told me that. He said, you are so right. Why am I teaching about marriage and divorce from Imam so-and-so's book? He said, when I know these hadiths. That's how we deviate. So for you duat out there, you brothers out there, y'all got to bring it home. Take it away from those imams and scholars and bring it back to the real scholars. The real scholars of Islam are those companions. If you know the hadiths, now if you don't know the hadiths, that's different. But for you brothers that claim to be scholars and know the hadiths, take it back to them. Okay? That'll make it easier for this nation. You wouldn't have women like I have here and men like I have here telling me that they were told they can't marry people over a certain age. Because Imam Hanafi this, Imam Hanafi that, Ibn Taymiyyah said this, Ibn Qathir said that, Imam Nawawi. Oh, get out of here with that stuff. All right? Okay, so let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Today we're going to continue. And again, you know, I get people talk about me for being the way I am. So for those people listening to me, I mean, they're not used to a Muslim woman who speaks with a strong voice, who tries to keep it real. I can't apologize for being me. This is how Allah created me, and I follow the Sunnah. I was geared and raised to be a daya. And I know as a Muslim woman, I have to keep a certain appearance publicly on this camera. I'm doing this for Allah. I'm not doing it to please nobody else. So I have to keep it real. And we're living in the days in which the truth appears to be falsehood. We're living in the days in which sinfulness appears to be piety. I know you brothers and sisters are used to watching women get on camera, and laugh and talk and make their voices sound like babies, like they're 10 years old. And some of them even fake accents. This is the thing too now. Everyone fakes an accent now. Well, I'm not one of those women that's going to fake an accent, because I fear Allah first and foremost. And we're not supposed to do that as women. If a woman's going to give dawah, we have to be serious. We have to have a certain demeanor. And that demeanor entails being not aggressive, but being intimidating. Intimidating is a better English word. And because if you're intimidating, that'll make a person think twice before they attack you, abuse you, walk over you, or anything else. Okay? So I'm not going to apologize for being me. Okay? I'm sorry. That ain't happening. Okay? But anyway, let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And let's see if we can break down this Wally crap. And I'm calling it crap because, we go over the laws of Islam, but do people honor the laws of Islam? No. But don't blame Allah. Blame mankind. Okay? Let's put it up. And by the way, for those of you who have not yet purchased the book, again, the book can be purchased on Amazon. This book is written by my student, my personal student. He'll tell you that. Yeah, I got students who've written books. This is one of them. And he's not ashamed to say that he's my student because he learned from one of the best. Not the best, but one of the best. Okay, so tonight we're going to complete chapter 13, and we're going to just go over the first part of chapter 14 in the book. And this is, again, defining the role of the guardian. The role of the guardian when it comes to marriage. And I know how a lot of you sisters feel because these guardians have abused their position, abused their authority, many of them, and then others don't do what they're supposed to do. But again, like I'm speaking for myself as well as all of you, don't blame Allah for his laws not being implemented the way they're supposed to. Blame mankind. Okay? All right, let's take a look at where we stopped off. Remember, we talked about how the guardian, he's supposed to be the custodian of Allah's laws during the marriage process. He's supposed to be the one that overlooks the rights of the woman and has her best interests at heart. Okay? It's his job to promote righteousness and piety within the marriage. And we talked about how that's why he's supposed to look for good potential suitors that are aligned with Islamic values, beliefs, and practices. What does that mean? He should be a righteous man. Okay? It's his job, the guardian's job, to make sure that, first of all, the man that she wants to marry is Muslim. And this is a big problem that we see today. A lot of our Muslim women are marrying kafir men. Who was their guardian? You cannot marry a Muslim woman to a non-Muslim man. Okay? He has to be Muslim first and foremost. And then it's the guardian's job to do the investigation to make sure that he practices his deen, that his belief system is correct. In other words, he has to be upon the Quran and Sunnah. You wouldn't marry your daughter to a man who's a Sufi if she's a Salafi. Let's give an example. You wouldn't take your guardian, your guardian shouldn't allow you to marry someone that's on the opposite schism of things from you. Okay? He has to have the correct belief system. He has to have the correct practices. He has to be a person that prays according to the sunnah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if that's what your daughter is doing. Why would you marry her to a man that doesn't raise his hands? Even though he doesn't have to raise his hands. But why would you know your daughter lives the sunnah? She honors the sunnah of the Prophet. Why would you marry her to a man that doesn't, that picks and chooses what parts? So again, it's the guardian's job to make sure that the Islamic values, the Islamic beliefs and practices are in sync with each other. Okay? And the woman should be able to trust that. And let me talk about something else that's very important. When a guardian is representing a woman in marriage and he does his investigation should be based on proof, not allegations. That's very important. Okay? You don't sit around and a righteous man comes to you asking for this is the meaning of that hadith. A righteous man comes to you asking for the hand of your daughter. This man is known as being righteous. He prays. Okay? He has a good social status. He's in good social standing with the law. He's also in good social standing with the people. But everybody has their haters. Even the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had his haters. You don't sit around listening to haters make allegations against a man that comes asking for your daughter. Where's the proof? We're people of Dalil. Where's the evidence? If the man can provide for your daughter, if the man can maintain her according to what she's accustomed to, plus he's able to offer her the lifestyle that she's used to, plus his religious practice is exactly like hers, his belief system is the same as hers, what are you denying her marriage for? Based on hearsay of some haters? That's not good enough, bro. Do y'all understand that this is a problem that a lot of sisters are faced with? Now, if the man couldn't provide, if the man couldn't maintain, the man wasn't on her stature spiritually, and there's proof of allegations, and that's something different. So again, the guardian has to deal with evidence, not personal likes, not personal dislikes. Okay? Not based on the fact that you don't want your daughter to get married because you want her to take care of you. This is a big epidemic going on in the world today. A lot of fathers are not allowing their daughters to get married because they sent their daughters to college to be nurses and doctors, and they want their daughters to keep sending money to them. So you're going to deny your daughter getting married. This is not Islam, and she can go over you. Just like the other situation. This man is righteous. This man has great social standing with Allah. He has great social standing with the people. But you want to deny her marrying him based on hearsay? She can go over you. Because Allah doesn't give that much power to anyone. We're people of Dalil. We're people of reason and logic. We're not people of emotion. Everybody understand that? So the guardian's involvement in the marriage process, should be one in which he's looking out for her best interests, financially, spiritually, and all of that. And he has to keep his personal crap out of it. Okay? Yeah, you're going to lose your daughter, but you're gaining a son. Okay? Yeah, your daughter can't send you a check every month no more. Okay? But inshallah, she'll have children. She'll have sons that can take care of you in your old age. Okay? So, also, the guardian's role involves ensuring that both potential candidates have an understanding of their religious duties and commitments too. Before you marry off the girl, you have to let her know what her role is as a wife, what her role is as a mother. Also, let her know what his role is as a husband, what his rights are as a husband. This is a problem that I see as a daya. A lot of women and men get married and you don't know each other's rights and you don't know each other's roles. The guardian is supposed to go over that with both of you. The guardian should ask the potential husband, what's his knowledge of his rights? What is his knowledge of his role as a husband, a father, and all of that? And then the guardian should evaluate whether they're compatible based on their understanding and their knowledge of what their roles and rights are. So as you can see, being a guardian is a big responsibility that most Muslims today are not fulfilling. They're not fulfilling it correctly, or they don't want to fulfill it at all due to personal hang-ups. It's sad, guys. It's really sad how we've deviated away from being like those original companions. Also, it's the guardian's job to access the knowledge that the potential man has of his religion. Does this man understand the basics of Islam? Does this man not only know what my daughter's rights are as a wife and a mother, but and his rights and his roles as a man, but does he know what it means to believe in Allah? Does he understand the concept of wala wal bara? Most Muslims don't understand the concept of allegiance and disassociation. It's the guardian's job to assure that he understands that type of stuff, that he understands the Islamic teachings, the basics, rather than the woman marry this man and find out that he don't even know that celebrating birthdays is an act of worship. Rather than have your daughter marry this man and then she find out that he's celebrating Maulid. He doesn't know that there ain't no Maulid. So the guardian has to examine the religious level of knowledge that the suitor has too. And again, weigh it, measure it to see if it is in sync with her religious knowledge and her religious understanding. Okay? This is important. Otherwise, the marriage is not going to work. And also, remember the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said a woman is married for 4 reasons. And this is a hadith that many people don't understand the true meaning of. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said a woman is married for 4 reasons. Either her money, her family status, her beauty, or her religion. He said you should marry the one who's religious. Otherwise, you'll be a loser. A lot of people read or quote this hadith, and they think that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is saying that these are the 4 things to look for in a woman. That's not what he's saying. Remember, this was the 6th century. In the 6th century, before the Prophet Muhammad received the call to prophethood, women were viewed as chattel. Women were only married either for her money, because her money went to the man, or either women were married because of her family status, because she was the daughter of a man of stature. His power would go to the husband. Or either they married her because she was just so beautiful you couldn't resist her. Or they would marry her because of her devoutness to whatever they worshiped. Those are the 4 reasons that women were married back in the 6th century. One of those 4 reasons, because other than that, women didn't have any value. Okay, that's why they killed their daughters. That's why in the 6th century they would bury, they only allowed a certain amount of females to live. They would bury the rest. Okay, the prophet is saying, out of all those reasons that you men may choose to marry a woman, the best reason would be because she's a devout religious woman. Because the rest goes away. When you marry her for money, yes, you inherit her money. And that's it. If you marry her for her family status, you'll get her family status. And that's it. If you marry her for her beauty, beauty will fade away. When she gets pregnant, she'll lose her beauty. But religion, it never fades away. Devoutness to a law, devoutness to a cause, devoutness to a reason never gets old, never wears out, never fades. That's the meaning of this hadith. That's why it's important to know history. If you Muslims today understood what life was like in the 6th century, you'd understand this hadith. If you knew that women were nothing but chattel, they were only married for these reasons. This is the truth. They only married women for these reasons. Otherwise, what did they do? They raped them. Women were raped. Women were the war booty. Women became captives of war. They were nothing. Okay? They only married a woman for these 4 reasons. Otherwise, they make a woman their slave, or they make a woman their prostitute. That was the 6th century. Islam came and gave us rights. And these are the rights that Allah gave us. Okay? That's why women converted to Islam then. That's why many people converted to Islam, because there was no need to kill their daughters anymore. There was no need to worry about their daughters being traded off, for money, status, and all of that. So here we can see the prophet is saying that the religion is the best thing to marry for. So the guardian, that's his job. This doesn't just apply to the woman, but for the man too. If you are the guardian of a woman, you want to make sure that the man she's marrying is not just because he's rich, not just because he comes from a powerful family, but also you want him to be a religious man too, someone that she can develop spiritually with.
Can I speak?
Alhamdulillah, it's Dr. Jamali. Alhamdulillah.
We just landed. I'm in a car from home listening to you. I shared it immediately. Jazakallah khair.
Oh, are you still at the airport?
And I just landed. My son is picking me up from the airport right now in the car. Right now,
Alhamdulillah. Which one of your sons?
Ayin's son.
Oh, mashallah. Yes, Ayin's son. He's a handsome fella too. Yes, mashallah.
He's very handsome. Sister, the hadith is not religious. He says some religious, and he says, "Taribat yadah." I mean, you have your hand in the soil. The soil like a treasure. That there is a woman with religion, with deen. That means that the treasure is not only religious. A person keeping her deen and keeping the relationship between husband and wife and guarding the house.
Mashallah.
The hadith, it's beautiful hadith. But honestly, sister, there is people in our century right now, people the same thing. I know some brothers here and there, and even I just came from Texas. Believe me, some people honor their wives and the wife honor their husband at the same time. So the key, the person, husband or wife, do best with their best. And it's, for example, wife is not right person, but you train your wife, and the opposite, I train my husband to be, number one, to live Allah, and to follow what Allah Azza wa Jal and the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is the hadith system.
Russ, mashallah. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear he's breaking it down. So it ain't that you can pick one of those things. The prophets explain why. Y'all hear that? The brother Idris, yes, he said, mashallah, exactly.
This hadith system, when I make a PhD and inside of the hadith PhD, one of my tests in this hadith. And I found out this hadith sister treasures. It treasures the meaning that Rasulullah saying the truth. And the person, right, a woman with deen, not with the beauty, not with the wealth, not because her father and her mom and the family and the hasad. No, the deen is the key for foundation of the house.
Y'all understand that? And that's important. And this is what we deviated away from today. You know, the dean of the house, you know, we're too busy trying to make that money. You know, we leaving our kids to be raised by the kafirs in school, leaving them in with the television, radio.
Yes, yesterday I spoke about what the kids in the public school, they teaching the most corruption things. Public school, your son, your daughter, may Allah protect your kids. Because it's dangerous to put your kids in the public school.
Yeah, we need to really reconsider our relationships, guys.
Yes.
Because we're losing our kids.
I'm arriving now. I will listen to you from the phone, inshallah.
Okay.
Me and my wife will listen to that, inshallah.
Okay. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. MashaAllah. It's always such a great pleasure to have Dr. Jamali, especially when it comes to this topic, this marriage, you know, and divorce. And it's just sad. You know, when we sit here, like I was telling you sisters earlier, don't blame it on Allah. Because the Islam is beautiful. Allah laid these guidelines out for us, these rules for us. Don't blame him that people are not abiding by them. Because again, as Dr. Jamali said, you choose religion because, again, she's the one that's going to have your kids. She's going to raise your kids. She's the one that's going to instill good manners, good character in them. Okay? The woman is the spiritual anchor. That's what I was going to talk about too. Here it is. The woman is the spiritual anchor with the family. It's her job to nurture the family, to keep the spirituality going. She's the one that supplies an atmosphere of spirituality within a home. So don't be so quick to jump up and marry because she's got money. And the same with us women too, when it comes to a man. Nowadays, a lot of you sisters, you're looking for a man that's got falus, that's got money. No, you should want a religious man. Because just as you are the queen of the home, he's the king. And remember, your life is now spent first and foremost pleasing Allah. And then secondly, keeping the atmosphere within the home spiritual and pleasing your husband in what Allah commanded you to please him in. So again, both parties, women and men, we all need to make religion the priority. Because remember, from this marriage will come forth children. It's our job, especially the woman's job, to nurture and teach those children. And also, both parties have to provide strength. We have to be able to teach our children to be resilient, to be able to maintain that Islamic identity, that Muslim identity, despite living in a society that is anti-Islam. You know, that takes strength and resilience. So this is what the guardian is supposed to look for when he's matching up his ward, his sister, his daughter, or whoever with a potential spouse. He's got to look at them both in that way. Do they complement each other? Okay? Will they be compatible with each other spiritually? Will together these two be able to enter into a union that can bring forth children, the future of Islam, and together they can mold the future of Islam to be strong and resilient despite living in an environment where everyone else is not religious? See, it's a big role, big role. And also, remember, the husband and wife, they're supposed to be kind. They're supposed to have compassion for each other, generosity for each other. So the guardian is going to look at the man and see, first of all, is he religious? But is he also compassionate towards women? This is important because you know your daughter, you know your sister. Is he somebody that will be able to calm her down? My daughter can be feisty. My daughter has a mind of her own. If I marry her to this man, will he be able to calm her without abusing her? And on the other hand, will she be good for him? Will she know when to hold and fold with him? Is he someone that she'll walk over? Is he strong enough? Is he strong enough? Is he strong enough to handle the resilience of my daughter? We got to look at all of that. Seriously. Okay? And also, first and foremost, it's all about Allah. First and foremost, all about Allah. Is this man someone that will comply with the laws of Allah? Or is he someone that will be non-compliant? Is he someone that can encourage my daughter to be even more compliant than what she is? Because the man is the head of the family. That's his job to make sure that his wife and kids are abiding by the laws of Allah and Allah's teachings. So is he someone that can hold his ground and instill obedience to Allah in a kind, compassionate way? Okay? So these are all things that the guardian has to look at, guys. The problem is most of our guardians are not doing that today. You know, either we're extreme right or we're extreme left. But like I'm saying to the new shahadas here, don't blame it on Islam. As you guys can see, our laws are perfect. Our laws and rules and guidelines were perfected by Allah. Allah didn't make a mistake. He didn't leave anything out. He knows his creation better than the creation knows itself. It's just that man abuses. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions about this? Is this clear? I tried to keep this simple. I tried to keep it clear for the sisters here. And again, you know, I wasn't supposed to teach this class. This was Dr. Jamali's class today, but I filled in because you see he's just now getting back from Texas. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, type them, sister. Okay, like I was saying, Allah doesn't give too much power or authority to anyone. Okay, and this is a problem with the Bantus, not just the Bantus, that sisters from Africa and the Arabic, you know, Pakistan. I got a couple of Pakistani sisters here with the same question. This is cultural, garbage. If your father doesn't want you to get married, why doesn't he want you to get married? He doesn't have a reason, no good reason. Then you go to the judge or the imam. Where do you live? You live in Pakistan? Then you can go to the judge. Okay, we talked about that. There's no forced marriage. There's no forced marriage in Islam. We talked about that. No woman can be forced to marry against her will. Any woman who was forced to marry against her will, the marriage is invalid. So your father can't force you to marry anyone, sister. Okay, she's saying that her father is saying unless she marries this man that she doesn't want to marry, he's not going to allow her to marry anyone else. Well, go to the Qadi. Go to the judge over him. Just that simple. Yes. I don't know the laws of Pakistan, but go to the judge. It's supposed to be a Muslim country. They believe in rights of women there, from what I hear. You got feminists over there, I heard. Go to the Qadi. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead. It's cultural stuff. I hate cultural stuff. Any type of culture that goes against Islam, guys, we don't deal with it. If it's cultural practices that contradict Islam, then we don't deal with that. Yeah. Go ahead. These are the people on Rumble. Go ahead, Rumble. Yes. Yes. I mean, he has to have a reason. And by the way, let me talk about that for a minute. Guys, that is a reason. I know a lot of you sisters don't like to hear that, but race is a reason. Do you know how many marriages end up in divorce because of race problems, cultural issues? But I'll tell you what you do. If your father is telling you that he doesn't want you to marry anyone unless they are of your race, then tell him to find you a husband. Tell him that you're ready to get married. Because it's his job. It's the job of the guardian. And that's another thing too. You sisters have to stop that. We have another innovation and a sinful action that's going on nowadays. We got women out here looking for their own men. I'm going to tell you what makes it haram. You sisters are on Facebook, YouTube, private chatting and thinking you're going to do the hookup with some dude. Stop doing that. That's the job of your father. Let the men in your family look for you a husband. You know, you go to your father and say, boo, I'm ready to get married. And let him find you somebody of your own race. Okay? You sisters should not be on the internet looking for no men like some desperados. Where's your dignity? Seriously, where's your dignity? We exhaust every means possible. The sister is saying, what about exhausting every means possible? We exhaust every means possible that's within the guidelines of Islam. You sisters got it? The means has to be within the guidelines of Islam. We're not kafir women. And that's the problem. You sisters are behaving like the kafir women. Having relationships with men outside of marriage. No, we don't do that. Talking to men without your father even knowing. What's wrong with you sisters? You young girls. Supposed to be virgin? What's wrong with you? That ain't how you behave. Where's your dignity? That's the problem. We've become so much like the Kafir women. The Muslim identity is becoming lost. Yeah, but that's what you do. You go to your father and tell your father you want to get married and tell him to find you a husband then. He'll find you a good one. Yeah. Any other questions? Any questions in the Zoom room? Okay, if there's no questions, tomorrow I have the Sunnahfollowers Kids program. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, tomorrow is Sunday. What else we got? We got Mukhtar's class. The Life of Khalid bin Walid is at 7. Then you have my class. I'll do my class on faith at 6 tomorrow. And we have this class again. Yes. But I will continue with the next. We're going to finish up this chapter. This is chapter 14. I began chapter 14 today. I'm going to finish this chapter tomorrow on marriage. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, we're going to close out for tonight so I can work on the kids' stuff for tomorrow. Yeah, I need to get the PowerPoint together for the kids. All right. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.